Hey friends, before we start the video, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit that like button as well. Thanks. What's up everybody? Welcome back to the Scrap Trawlers channel where we do EDH on a budget. I am your host, Andy Zupke. With me as always is this super handsome guy up here, Mr. Nick Martin.
Hey, how you doing?
Was that like your pickup line? Like, hey.
How you doing? No, did it work?
Oh yeah, I got a little tingly, I guess.
All right.
What are we doing tonight?
All right. So we're doing something that I've been wanting to do for, a little bit. We're going to talk about budget.
Couple minutes?
All of it. Yeah, a couple minutes. We're talking about budget. What a budget is. What a budget deck is. Why would you brew budget? How do you know if your deck's budget or not? And for fun, we're gonna brew a deck together on stream, a budget deck, which we've never really done it before. We just kind of build our own decks, not really getting input from the other person. So this should be interesting, so we can see, what everybody's what the deck building quirks are, your preferences, and your style, and all of that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we're gonna fight over.
It's probably just gonna be ramp.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's do what we've been doing the last few scrap chats here. Let's get to our positivity spotlight.
Yeah, who do you have for us this week?
Yeah, so I picked our spotlight this time, and we are spotlighting Mara. So you can find Mara on Twitter or Twitch at Mara Plays Magic. Mara is also the co-host of Indoor Enthusiasts, a podcast about life during social distancing, magic, and some other stuff. Mara recently held an event called Super Extra Life, which was a series of commander pods on her stream with well-known people in the magic community. Let's see. And she used that event to raise over $3,000 for Extra Life. It's like $3,400 something. It was a crazy amount of money that she helped to raise. So it was really awesome.
That's impressive.
A huge accomplishment and a worthy cause. So thank you, Mara, for being a positive force in the magic community.
Andy.
Nick.
Well, what is budget?
What is budget to me?
Yeah, what's budget to you?
Well, I mean, I guess budget is pretty much any limit you set when you're building a new deck. I mean, some people budget can be $100. To us on Scrap Trawlers, it's $50. Some people think budget is like $500. Those are weirdos. But budget is whatever you set as for yourself as a maximum, or for your play group, if your play group wants to do budget building stuff. Oh, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So I guess if we're gonna put it, Oxford Dictionary definition or something, right? Its budget can be defined as a self-assessed financial limit that you can establish during the deck building process. So in other words, you're saying, hey, my deck costs no more than X dollars, or I'm only spending X dollars to build this deck. Not necessary to complete the deck, but establishing a budget early on can help you in the deck building process early on when you're trying to select cards to add to the deck. We all have that issue of, I have 150 cards, I need to cut 50. Establishing a budget just kind of takes some of that guesswork out. So, maybe you can't put in that Soul Ring or that doubling season because you can't afford it or you don't want to afford it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you just said, word for word, is what you see if you go in Webster's dictionary and look at budget. Everything you just said. That. Yeah.
Oh boy. So yeah, it's as you were talking about, Andy, budget's different for different people. Some people consider their $500 budget deck, or their deck $500 deck, a budget deck, which, if you pair it up against somebody's $3,000 Sliver Hive Lord deck or whatever, comparatively it makes sense. I would say more commonly, a budget deck is probably, like what we do, $50, maybe up to 100 at most. All right, so there's like there's a lot of different ways you can define a budget deck. So why even bother? Why would you brew a budget deck?
Because it's fun.
That's it. All right, we're done.
Yeah, all right.
Show over.
All right. I don't know. There's plenty of reasons why you want to brew a budget deck. You can do it as like a challenge for your group. That's how we got started. Hey, Clockwork 12GG, thank you for the follow. That's how we got started with our local play group. It was we were doing deck challenges, and one of them was a budget challenge, and then we liked it so much we said we're just gonna do budget from now on because it was great. It's a restriction that you wouldn't expect to make the process more fun, but it does.
Yeah, it really does. I'll agree with that. And there are many reasons to brew within a budget. Most obvious one to me is you want to play something new and you only have so much to spend. Magic is an expensive hobby, and if you're like me, you have probably too many hobbies. You do, record collecting, snowboarding, PC gaming, Magic. It gets expensive real quick. So yeah, Magic is expensive, but it doesn't have to be. At least not to the extent that you're probably spending as much money as you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason, restriction does breed creativity, and the smaller the budget you have, the more creative you have to get when choosing cards. And my personal favorite reason for building on a budget is finding those random cards that you wouldn't normally use because it's like an auto include. Like Soul Ring's an easy include, but if you're working on a $20 budget, that's a tenth the cost of your deck for one card.
Mm-hmm.
So finding fun things like you were using Explorer Scope, and I was using Prying Blade in my Vadrock deck, and they work surprisingly well, and they're really easy on the wallet. They're less than a quarter each, and they also have the added benefit of just spicing up some of your otherwise stale games and your deck building practices. So it actually makes you a better deck builder too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Challenging yourself to try different things definitely hones your deck building skills, makes you try different things, and yeah, it's a good way to learn. I also, would like to say to anybody out there who's afraid of getting into Commander because they think it's too expensive, I feel like we've kind of proven that that's not true. Or if they haven't watched our stuff yet, go check us out on YouTube. You can be proven wrong. We've had we've always done $50 decks, and we've had some pretty broken decks, but some really powerful stuff on our show.
Yeah, and we didn't even try to go that hard at first. I mean, I obviously picked Kiki Chiki on our first episode, and I knew you could easily break it by including Zealous Conscripts, and that's only like $1. So you have $49 to work with just to maybe find the combo or do whatever else you want.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously didn't do that, but you can do powerful things and not have to spend an arm and a leg to do it.
Should we pick something to brew? All right,
yeah,
so we're gonna transition into a different screen here, but I don't have any of those cool fancy transitions, so I'm just gonna do an effect like, and now we're on a different screen. Look at that!
Wow, how did you do that?
I just went.
Wow, I need to try that sometime.
Go ahead.
Not right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, so for the purposes of discussion, we are going to build a deck based on our first episode. So we're going to use Scrap Trawler rules, where the deck needs to be $50 priced at TCG Market, which does not include the price of the commander or basic lands. And the additional challenge that we're going to set is we're going to do the under 200 club. So we're going to look at some of the commanders that have less than 200 deck lists on EDH Rec. We're going to pick one that looks interesting, and you're going to watch us build a deck live and see the tools that we use you know, to make sure we get the cheapest versions of certain cards and all of that. So.
All right. Well, we are here on edhrec.com, and they just recently had a big upgrade. So I think before the upgrade, we couldn't do this, the full list of like the ranked decks before. It only showed you like the top 25 or something before, right?
Yeah, we got kind of lucky because I had this idea before this this update went live.
Yeah.
And we would have had to like just think of stuff.
Yeah. Before you had to go into like every color combination to see like what was under 200. But now they have it in the list form, which is really nice. Yeah. It's very good. Very good timing for them. They did it just for us. And I know they're watching.
Everybody's watching us.
Yeah, Gavin's watching. Richard Garfield. They're hanging out.
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, he's not busy anymore. He's probably watching.
Yeah. It's quarter 3 already. It was quarter 3 at 2:45, so he's done. That's how that works, right?
Yeah. You know, I think I can retire safely now. I got 100 billion. I got a cool 100 billion. I think that's enough retirement savings. I bet his 401k looks great.
It's probably a 501k, let's be honest.
Or 6, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, enough of the dumb jokes. Let's pick a commander. So we're here on edhrec.com. We are looking at the decks in order. So we are looking at everything under 200. So that starts with Kefnet the Mindful. So how do you want to do this? Do you want to leave it up to? Do you want to pick, or do you want to leave it up to?
We could leave it up to chat.
You want to leave it up to these weirdos? I don't know. We've had some unsavory people in here. They might try and make us do gross.
Flinging Llanowar around and all that.
Yeah. Ugh.
All right. So let's not do ones that we've already done. So Kiki Jiki's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't we each pick 2 and then we'll have chat decide with a vote? How does that sound?
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I like Averna. Averna's cool.
Okay.
I just did a Cascade deck, so that'll probably be easy for me. It would just be adding another color.
That's cool.
What do you see? Anything?
So I like Storrev Devkarin Lich because I can't pronounce the name without slowing down.
It's a tough one, yeah.
So that one's cool.
What else? You did Pelucranos, so we're not going to do that again. Oh, let's see. Tangarth? Tangarth might be fun.
Yeah, Tangarth's pretty cool.
Malcolm. Ugh. He kicked my butt with that Malcolm.
Sure did. You know what? My second choice, it's going to be your next one down. I think it's the next one down. Maybe after that. It's going to be Lord of Tressorhorn. Lord of Tressorhorn's like a classic commander.
Lord of Tressorhorn. Okay.
10-4, good buddy. Look at that guy.
When it comes into play, pay 2 life and sacrifice 2 creatures. Target opponent draws 2 cards. Yeah, alright.
It's a 10-4 regenerate.
10-4. Okay, what else?
Big trucking in Grixis land.
Would you stop with the funnies?
Oh, I'm sorry.
How about Geth? Geth, Lord of the Vault. That'd be fun. I'm surprised that's under 200.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's 6 mana, but still, that'd be fun.
I just entered mod mode in Twitch, and I don't know how to use it, so that's fun. We'll do that later. All right, cool. So we think we have our 4.
Did we? I don't know. I wasn't counting. Tell me. What do we got?
So my 2 were Lord of Tressorhorn and Storrev.
Okay. And what did I say? Geth and...
Not Tangarth. It was a little bit above that. Averna.
Averna. Okay. So chat, we got Averna, Geth, Lord of Tressorhorn, and what was the other one? Somebody should have read Storrev. Chat, tell us which of those 4 we should brew.
Let's do Storrev. All right, so we have our commander selected. What's the first thing we do? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go to Architect and start a list.
Cool. Architect, away we go. Whoosh. That's a
different sound.
That was another transition screen.
Yeah.
We stayed on the same screen, but we went to a different site, so it went whoosh.
That's faster.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to new deck. Live budget brew.
I like the different caps lock in there.
Okay.
It's a private deck because we're keeping our decks a secret until we go live.
Storrev, Devkarin Lich. All right. We're going to set this as our commander. Boom.
Yep. Commander does not count.
We've started our deck. And it's a cheap one anyways, even if it did count. Wouldn't matter too much.
Yeah. So let's read Storrev a little bit. So it is a 5/4 for 1 double black and a green for a zombie elf wizard. It has trample, and when it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, return to your hand target creature or planeswalker card in your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. So we get a little bit of a not reanimator per se, but you can do maybe some self mill to kind of toolbox stuff back into your hands. You can cast it later. You can also use stuff that self sacrifices outside of the combat phase to just get it back and reuse it for value. So Andy, when you build a deck, where do you start at? Do you start with things that go well with the commander? Do you start with the foundation of the deck?
It changes from time to time depending on the deck, but usually I like to start with the mana foundation. I'll generally start with the ramp cards for the most part.
Okay.
How about you? Is that where you start?
So because I build or I brew a lot of decks, I should say. I'm really quick to use a template. So Tomer from Budget Commander on Goldfish also uses a template. I use something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter who the commander is. I normally start with 38 lands, 12 ramps, 10 card draw, and let's see, 6 to 7 single target removal, 1 board wipe if you can afford it, and then the rest is just whatever you want to put in the deck for fun.
Yeah, that all sounds good.
All right, well, let's start with the ramp then, since we're kind of on the same page there.
So what I usually do when I'm starting a deck is I will generally go into... I start with EDH Rec, and I go to this commanders here. So we got 2 colors, and then Golgari, and this is all different. So there we go. Mana staples. That's usually where I start, because I don't feel like... I know there's been like a bit of back and forth about whether or not your mana rocks have to be creative as well, and like I don't really think so. So I just go with like what's here and what's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So I can start just popping in some stuff here. How do you feel about Soul Ring from the start? Do you usually do it as an auto include, or do you wait and see what your budget is looking like at the end?
Yeah, I wait to see what's at the end. Andy, if you want to show people how to find the cheapest version of Soul Ring, which is kind of a trick we can do on Architect. So some Soul Rings are, $300. Some of them are $2. For what we do for ScrapChat and what you can normally find online, we use the cheapest version of a card that we can find. But if we happen to have like like a Command Fest or what do they call it, like a Magic Fest version of Soul Ring. If you want to throw it in the deck, it's fine. Soul Ring still costs $2.
Yeah. So
But if you wanted to do that, Andy, how would you use Architect to find the cheapest version of a card?
Sure. So two things. Like you said before, we use TCG prices just because TCG is pretty low, at least at the base price. You tend to lose a lot of that value when you start getting into the shipping costs, because TCG is a market where you're buying from several different people. So you might end up with like 3 or 4 different packages if you're buying a whole deck, and then what can happen is you end up losing some of that money that you thought you were saving with TCG because you're paying for all that shipping over like Card Kingdom. But we're not worried about that as far as like the card prices. We're just worried about getting the cheapest version of a card in the deck so that we are getting the most bang for the buck, as they say. So two things we want to do in Architect here. First is this price button right here, prices. So Architect automatically defaults to Card Kingdom as the first price. You can see it here on Storrev. We got Card Kingdom here, and then TCG is second. So you want to go to prices, click on this first one here, and just change that to TCG. All right. So now all we're going to see is TCG prices here. So if you go up here to this estimated cost, that'll be the cost of the deck using the TCG market price. And then when we're adding in cards, what we want to do here, it's usually when you search for a card, say, okay, you wanted to do Soul Ring as an example. What it usually is going to bring up here is the latest version of that card rather than any other version or the cheaper version. The default is to go with the latest version, which currently was from one of the pre-cons from, I think that's Kaldheim. So that actually might end up being the cheapest version, but for a while it was that Commander Collection one. Like if you search for Soul Ring, it would pull up like that $10 Commander Collection one. So what we want to do here is this sort by alphabet here. What we want to do is sort by price. And then what that is going to do is that's going to bring up each printing of the card, and it's going to show you the cheapest one at the beginning. Now there's something kind of weird with Soul Ring here, and I think it's a glitch in Architect because it's been here forever. This 70-cent Soul Ring, this card doesn't actually exist. It's just some weird Architect thing.
It might be somebody's like rogue Soul Ring that they're selling on TCG, and it's like heavily played, run over by a couple trucks. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's been here for months, so I don't think it's TCG. It's definitely Architect, but I don't even pick that one. I go with the next one just because picking this would seem dishonest to me. So I'd pick this one since that's the cheapest by 20, almost 20 cents.
Right, and that's something to note too when you're building on a budget. Cents do add up over time. I mean, if you had let's say you added like 10 Soul Rings, if you use the $2.3 version, you just wasted, or you're missing out on $3 extra of value. So something to keep in mind.
So like I said, I just go through here and pick out the cheap cards that I like. Llanowar Wastes was reprinted in a couple of Commander precons, so it's super cheap. One of the cheaper pain lands, so we can include that here, which is nice.
Okay.
But you got other stuff here that isn't cheap, like Overgrown Tomb. Obviously, we can't afford that. So Golgari Signet. I don't usually run. I don't run the green colored signets. I don't feel like it's necessary. What do you think? Oh, hey, Caleb's here.
I do like them only because the game is speeding up, and you can speed up with it. Everybody likes the 2-mana ramp nowadays. And I think people are honestly overlooking the Golgari Signet. let's pretend that we were still doing Lord of Treasurehorn.
Yeah.
Then choosing to do those signets, and if they're all cheap, if you add Soul Ring with it, there's a good chance that your opening hand just has Soul Ring and a signet, which is just going to put you over the top. And in a budget meta, which we didn't really cover because we're just doing the deck building, it's kind of like I said, it was like the inverse of CEDH when we podcasted on Commander Crunch. And what I mean by that is some things work differently in budget EDH than they do like a normal EDH. For example, if you ramp ahead earlier than everybody else, because not everybody can afford Soul Ring and Mana Crypt and all that stuff, because you're all on a budget. If you ramp ahead, you're a lot farther than everybody else compared to like a normal game of Commander, because ramp is at a premium. So for that reason, I do like the signets, especially in green decks.
Yeah. I am of the opposite point of view. I think ramp is tiered as far as like how good each version of it is. So in my opinion, the best ramp is land tutors, which that's what green does best, right? Because your lands are the safest. Your lands are the safest permanent on the battlefield, right? So tutoring for a land is going to be the safest bet. Whereas if you go get a fiat of artifact, that could get blown up. It's very unlikely somebody's going to blow up your signet. And I think, like we've said previously, you're not actually seeing Vandal Blast all too often. So, maybe I need to reevaluate. Maybe the signets are okay in green, but I still think that lands are generally the way to go. But I'm cool with adding the Golgari signet if you want to throw it in there.
Yeah, and then since we're still early on in the deck building process, if we decide we need to, like, we have $5 extra, let's upgrade our ramp suite. We can then start taking that stuff. If we can afford things like Farseek and Nature's Lore, we can just toss a signet and upgrade it that way. That's also a good way to maximize your budget. I know some people, they'll set their limit, and then if they don't even get near, they're like, okay, sweet, I'll spend $10 instead of $50. But some people want to get the most bang for their buck, and that's a good way to do it.
Okay. Okay, question for you then. Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. How do you feel about them in 2-color decks? Okay, well. People in chat, tell us, how do you feel about Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse in 2-color decks? In a 2-color deck, I am okay with running one of them. I would not run both.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. You don't need that much mana fixing in a 2-color deck.
Well, I come from the camp of, because I grew up like most players, I guess, playing budget decks. So I was always in the camp of, you're gonna prioritize fixing over speed, because the game's gonna go on long enough to where it doesn't matter anyway. Now that was different like 11 years ago. So maybe I need to reassess my stance on those, on the slow fetches, we'll call them that. Are they necessary? No. Do I like them? Absolutely.
Okay.
We got a question in chat from Colin. Kind of a meta question, really. Are artifacts safer than enchantment ramp? And enchantment ramp being things like Wild Growth and Wolf Hollow, whatever, that enchants a land and turns into a wolf later on. But it adds an additional green whenever you tap a land.
I think they're pretty even. I think if you're enchanting a land, again, lands are, in my opinion, the safest permanent on the battlefield. So it's not likely the land is going to get blown up. Obviously, you're susceptible to like Cyclonic Rifts, not in our budget meta, but in a non-budget meta. But the same would be true for artifacts. So I guess I would rank them as kind of pretty close to equal, maybe slightly better than artifacts.
Yeah, I would say exactly that, and I would say that because artifact removal is more prevalent in EDH than enchantment removal. So you're more likely to see a Vandal Blast in a game than you are with Back to Nature, where it destroys all enchantments.
Okay, so Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse. You want to add one or both?
I'd say let's add both.
Okay.
Because our commander does need double black, and if we for whatever reason can't do that, if we're green heavy, for our fixings, maybe we need that black for some reason.
Yeah, the double black is important. Good consideration, and these are super cheap, so no, that's fine. Let's see here. So we got Tainted Wood, $1.57 for TCG. How do you feel about that? Would you spend that much of your budget on a land?
Probably not. So my preference when starting a budget brew is I start with all basics,
Mm-hmm.
and then if I have extra monies left over in the pool, then that's where I go back and say, okay, this can be an Evolving Wilds, this can be a command tower, and all of that, or even a guild gate. Guild gates go a long way. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay. Well, how about we just do that then? Let's fill up the other 34 with just basics, and then if we have time at the end of this, kind of thinking we might not, we can go back and adjust our non-basic lands based on what we have left in the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to add what we need. We said 34, so that's... What is that? 17 each?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Oh, why did I say mountain? Why did I say mountain?
Let's add mountains.
We're switching. We're switching the colors. We got the Piper in here.
Sneak in Treasure Horn. I knew it.
Yeah. Okay. Did I do math wrong? I did 17. I did 14. I'm not good at this. There we go.
That's all right.
Okay.
It's a little bit harder when all the pressure's on you since you're live.
I know. Everybody's watching me. Turn away.
All right. Cool. So yeah, normally from this point on, because as I said, I use a lot of templating and I do kind of easy, lazy deck building. From here, I would start on ramp. Where do you normally go?
Yep, ramp is good. So when you're building an architect, do you make your own categories or do you just leave them as is?
I'm lazy and I leave them as is, and then afterward, I when I'm trying to do like the deck analysis, I will then start to like visualize where does this go? Does this overlap with any other category and all that?
Okay. I like to make my own categories right at the beginning.
Yeah, let's do that just so we can keep everything concise.
Okay. All right, let's save that. Let's go back here. Let's look for other ramp. Okay, Arcane Signet. Hold off on that one. Should we put it in the maybe board?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because we might have, the deck might not be too expensive and we can actually afford it. I've actually been running it in a few of my Scrap Trawlers decks.
Yeah, I put it in because it's slightly more expensive than Soul Ring. So I'll start with Soul Ring, and if I have even more money left over, I'll swap out something for the Arcane Signet.
Okay.
Getting that reprint in Commander Legends was a godsend.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna just keep going down and down with each reprint.
Yeah.
Until it, I don't know. It's probably gonna hit some point where it's just gonna level off and not go down anymore, like Soul Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Talisman. Do you want to throw that in there?
Yes.
This is a cheap one. Pretty much all the 2-mana rocks with green in them are cheap.
Yeah, because
So
everybody
that's
prioritizes
nice.
rampant growth and all of that.
Yeah.
So, if we go back, you'll see that we've kind of run out of staples and mana rocks to look at.
Yeah.
As far as mana sources. So, normally, when I look for cards that I'm trying to include, I'll actually start with Scryfall.
Okay.
So we can show people how they can use Scryfall to find cheap cards. So you're going to go to Scryfall, you'll go to the advanced search, which Andy already has pull up. In the commander section, you're going to click the colors of your commander, so it's going to be black and green.
Yep.
And since our commander is, well, just reading it really quick again. Our commander cares about doing combat damage and cares about creatures and planeswalkers, so it can bring them back from your graveyard to your hand. So, in the type line, going back to Scryfall, type line would be creature.
Okay.
I mean, we know things, you know, like Sakura Tribe Builder, they search for lands and they sacrifice, so it's like perfect for that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So in the text box, I would just type in land.
Okay.
Now that's going to pull up everything in those colors. So to, you know, to narrow it down further, we're going to scroll down to the prices section. And so you can do prices USD less than, I normally put 1 to start.
Oh, okay.
And then you hit search with these options. And that's going to bring up every creature that has the word land in it that's under $1 or at $1. And, you know, we can scroll through these really quickly to see if anything, you know, puts lands, you know, from the deck or the hand into the battlefield, or they self-sacrifice to do something with lands. Anything that would help us out.
Beanstalk Giant.
Yep, that's a good one. I've been running that a little more lately, just because I've seen you do it, and it puts in work, especially in a budget meta. It comes down as a 7/7.
Do you want me to throw it in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Chris, thank you for the subscription, buddy.
Ooh, thank you. There we go, a nice 12 cents. So if you scroll down a little bit, we have Burnished Heart, which is pretty dang good in this deck. It gets you the lands you need, puts itself in the graveyard, which you can then just bring it back with your commander.
I like it. 25 cents
there are more
now.
efficient options, but this is nice. Yeah, this used to be like $1.50.
Yeah, the Commander Legends reprint really knocked it down. It looks like it's in Kaldheim too. The Kaldheim precons.
Oh, good. Let's keep it going.
I think Sakura Tribe Elder you mentioned, I think that's actually going to be above our $1 threshold here. But
it might be. But there's a couple more that we can use that I've actually used in my Pelucanos deck.
Okay.
Dawn Shredder Elk and Diligent Farmhand right below it. They both sacrifice themselves and they search for land.
Okay.
So they come down cheap and they're pretty easy to use.
Okay, drop those in the ramp column. All right, we're up to 7 ramp cards. Let's see what else we got. Anything else off the top of your head? We had Civic Wayfinder is kind of just okay for 3 mana.
We do have other options like Fertilid actually searches for the thing and eventually dies, so you could bring it back. A little bit of synergy there. You'll see that on the next page.
Fertilid. Okay. So we want to throw that in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get your classic like Farhaven Elf. We could do that. That's, you know, not bad at all. If you scroll down a little bit farther, there's another one of my favorites, which is Krosan Wayfarer. That one's a little trickier to use, but it comes down on turn 1. If you happen to have if you happen to have 2 or 3 lands in your hand, which you should if you're, you know, mulliganing, that's an easy ramp on turn 1, and it's super cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay for turn 1, but if you were bringing it back with Storrev in the late game, it's probably not awesome. You know?
That's true, but you might be using or wanting that like self-sacrifice effect for something else.
Okay.
Some other synergy in the deck, so something to consider. Are you looking at any others?
Let's see. Farhaven Elf. Colin said. Farhaven Elf. Okay, let's do that. And Spring Bloom Druid. That's the one where you sacrifice one and go get two?
Yeah, right? It's like the Haro on a stick.
Here's a battlefield, sacrifice land. Yeah, let's do that. I like that.
Yeah, so Crow Tribe Builder is actually under $1, which is excellent.
Did that get a reprint recently? Not super recent.
Not super recent, but it's still under $1. I think it's like, you know, one of the better ramp cards in EDH.
Oh, it was in C20. Okay. So we got 79 cents. We could do that.
All right. What are we at now? 10? Do you want to stop there and
we're
go
at,
to the next one?
We are at 11, my friend.
Oh,
is that too many?
11. Okay. I normally like including 12.
12? Okay.
Yeah.
People in
there's
chat.
There's a spicy one from Mercadian Mass if you want to use that.
What is it called?
It's called Silverglade Pathfinder, which is we didn't get to cover it because it's not a rare, but I do really like it.
Okay. Oh, the Spell Shaper. Pay 2, tap, discard a card from your hand, search your library for basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. So we got to discard a card, but that actually works really well with Storrev.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
All right.
Because we can just discard a creature, and it didn't. Let's see. In your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. It wasn't put there during combat, so I like it.
Cool. All right, so we got an okay little thing for ramp here. Let's move on to you want to do card draw?
Yeah, let's do card draw. So we had people in chat already saying harmonize. I think that's decent. You could throw that in there.
Yeah.
It's only 25 cents now. I've been getting a lot of reprints lately. So I will make a new category. So we do, I say draw / advantage.
Yeah, that's good.
So what else works well with this commander for card draw? Do we want to try Scryfall? Just type in draw a card or something?
Yeah, so let's try to keep with the creature thing. So just type in the word draw, and everything should still be the same. And go ahead and hit search with these options if everything is good. So anything that does it on enters the battlefield or via sacrifice is something to consider because Storrev can bring it back.
Okay.
I see Corpse Augur in here, which is a good one since we might be targeting ourselves with it most of the time.
What is that? Core Stalker?
Corpse Augur.
Corpse Augur.
There it is.
When it dies, draw cards lose at X life or X number of creature cards in target player's graveyard. That works good. I like that. Card draw. See.
Alright, what else do we got?
Colin is asking how much is Peer into the Abyss. It's cheap to buy. Huh. It's not cheap to cast.
But, I think I know where Colin's going with this. Because if you happen to have more than 7, which you're probably going to have, you just discard the rest and you don't care. Well, I guess you would care a little bit, right? But the card is super spicy. I always forget it exists.
It's only 74 cents. You want to throw it in or put it in maybe?
You can also use it offensively, and you can get in for like Storrev kill damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like it.
Okay.
Cool.
Throw it in there as an expensive option for card draw. Expensive to cast, I should say.
Right. Disciple of Bolus is a good one.
Oh yeah. Skyfall here. Oh, what else we got?
Honestly, I don't see too much more that jumps out to me. Why don't we switch back to EDH Rec to see what they recommend?
For card draw?
Yeah. Probably in the stable section?
Yeah. Let's see. Moldervine Reclamation. Whenever a creature you control dies, you gain 1 life and draw a card.
I like that.
Okay.
Colin's recommending Hunter's Insight from Commander Legends, which is really good because we want our commander to get in for combat damage. And having trample means it's probably going to do the damage. It's a good call.
Okay. Hunter's Insight is in there. Let's see what else.
Death Sprout's pretty cool. It's technically ramp, and it's a kill spell.
Okay, so you want to put that in there as well?
Yeah. Anything that overlaps between categories is really good, especially, you know, it's just good deck building practice in general, but especially when you're on a budget. If you're trying to, you know, stick to the template, and you have any sort of overlap, that just saves you money and lets you just play more cards that you want to play anyway.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Let's see. While you're looking there, I'm going to continue through Scryfall.
Okay.
I see... Oh, there's one I see on your end. Death Reap Ritual. That one's really good because it has that each end step clause.
Right. So I usually don't run Solemn Simulacrum in green. What do you think about it in this deck?
I think it's good here because it has both an Enter the Battlefield and Dies trigger.
Yeah.
So in the mid game, which I don't know about you, but I normally forget about the mid game most of the time when I'm building decks. It's really good because it, you know, helps you keep pace with the rest of the table, and later on it just tries to draw you into your wins.
All right, I put that under card draw.
Okay. What do you think about Smothering Abomination?
Well, I guess it depends on where we go with the deck. Are we really planning to do a lot of sacrifice? Is that where we're heading with this deck strategically?
It's a synergy, but I know that Storrev can only get one thing at a time. And so, yeah, to your point, maybe sacrificing a bunch of things like every turn isn't the best way to accumulate card advantage.
Mm-hmm. Let's throw that in the maybe. How about that?
Yeah.
So I just saw one here on EDH Rec. Gerard's Orders. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards, reveal them, put one into your hand and the other into your graveyard. I think that'd be good here.
That's technically a double tutor.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
$1.53, not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. I did find one more on mine that I am really enjoying. It's Twin Blade Assassins.
Twin Blade Assassins.
Yeah. It's the Death Reap Ritual, but on a stick for your turn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 5/4.
Yeah. It's a good body on it. All right. Let's see. Colin in chat said Malakir Rebirth. Was just on screen. So that's basically... That's kind of more of a recursion thing. Like if your creature's about to die, you cast this to save it. I guess I don't know if we're going... How much recursion we're going to be planning for, but let's throw it in the maybe board so we can come back to it.
Does it put it back in your hand or just back on the battlefield for 2 life?
Back on the battlefield.
Well, that's not bad. You can like target your solemn and just get a land, draw, then get another land. I don't hate it.
Okay. All right, we've got 10 card draw and advantage cards here. Is that enough for you?
Yeah, normally that's enough for me.
Okay. What do you like to do next?
All right, so then I normally try to go for any sort of answers. So 6 or 7 various targeted removal. I don't really try to even it out between creatures and artifacts and all that. Just whatever I find. And then if we can afford it, which is something to consider, at least 1 board wipe.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things about building on a budget. Board wipes, because of how good they are just naturally, they're a little bit pricey.
Yeah.
So finding one that's actually going to work as intended and not be like in Garrick's Wake, I know you like that, but I don't, because it's 9 mana, and by the time you want to cast it, it's too late. It's just for me, at least, it's hard to find, things that are good and reliable.
Yeah. All right, so I got Feed the Swarm up on here as an excellent target removal spell, so I'm gonna add that in. I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm just doing it.
All right.
Taking the initiative here.
Andy Flurry in chat. Do we consider Plague Crafter a removal spell? I would say yes.
I would not, but I'm fine with putting it there.
That's one of the cool things you can do with the commander, right? You can use Plague Crafter, have it sacrifice itself, and then bring it back with your commander. So nice repeatable removal.
Yeah, no, I dig that. Okay, so we need more target removal. What was that new one from Zendikar that makes everybody sacrifice their biggest creature? What was that one called?
I can't think of it. I can see the art. I can see it in my head. I just don't know what it's called.
We'll get there.
Too many sets have come out in the last year.
So we got Feed the Swarm. So I thought it was in Zendikar.
It is.
Soul Shadow. Yeah, let's do that. I'm a big fan of that one, even though I don't know what it's called.
One I do like that I put in almost every green deck, just budget or not, Acidic Slime.
Oh yeah, that's one of your favorites.
Another one that's really good and you can cast early on is Caustic Caterpillar.
Okay. What else? How many target removals do you want here?
I normally go, 6 or 7.
6 or 7. All right, we're at 6 right now.
All right. What do we have for like creatures one? Actually, you know what? You know what's a good card, just in budget in general? Meteor Golem.
It's so expensive though.
It is, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
And if you can use Malakir Rebirth on it, if it dies, well, that's pretty good. I'm liking that suggestion more and more, Colin.
All right. Let's throw Malakir Rebirth in here. So I'm going to throw this under recursion.
Alright, and then if we happen to find more removal as we get into the meat of the deck, that'd be great too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just make sure that we have it.
We got 69 cards in the deck. We're under $15. We're doing good.
We're doing really good. Alright, so now the hard part.
Oh, Chris said Ravenous Chupacabra.
Oh, that's a good one too. You know what might be good in here? Maybe I'd put it in the maybe board. Stronghold Assassin. I wonder how expensive that is nowadays.
$0.69. Sacrifice a creature, destroy target non-black creature. Yeah, I don't know. I always shy away from anything that says non-black. It's because a lot of times the threat is black,
Yeah.
Biggest thing on the board. I don't know. Do you want to add it?
I don't know. I just like it because it fits the theme a little bit. I'm not normally scared of the whole terror clause where it's non-black, non-artifact. It's whatever. It also has added utility just being a creature. It can block.
This art is cool on this 7th edition one. I've never seen that. I've never seen that before. That's cool.
It's in a core set. Chris is also mentioning Casualties of War. That's kind of a board wipe, right?
No. Because it's destroy one of each. I don't know. I'm not in love with this one. It's so expensive to cast. But, I mean, I guess it's not that bad. I don't know. I feel like what we have in our removal package here is already pretty good.
Okay. Well, what do we do about a board wipe? 'Cause I do like to have at least one. It's always good to have.
All right. So you don't like In Garrick's Wake. I'm a fan of it, but I understand what you're saying.
Let's put it in there. I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
We're in green. I feel a little bit better about it. We can ramp up to actually cast it.
How about text line destroy all? And let's bump this up to 3. Boom. Let's see what we get. Let's see. Destroy all enchantments. Ooh, Blood on the Snow. Destroy all creatures. How much? That's only 6 mana.
Yeah, but do we care about the snow part or no? Or snow?
You can cast it without. I mean, no, I don't think so. You don't have to have snow mana to cast this.
That's true.
Destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers. Planeswalkers is rarely relevant in budget. Then return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less. Graveyard. That's if you have snow mana. So that's kind of not really considering that here, but I don't know. Let's use that. Let's put that as a maybe. See if we come up with anything better.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Necromantic Selection?
I don't know. Let's look at it. Necromantic Selection costs 7 mana, 3 black in there. Destroy all creatures, then return a creature card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. It's a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Exile Necromantic Selection. I guess that's alright.
Alright, and how many board wipes do you normally run?
It kind of changes from deck to deck, and it changes over time too. Like over time, I'm running less and less of them. Like some decks, I used to have like 4 or 5 board wipes, but I'm kind of leaning more towards like 1 or 2 now.
Yeah, because if you have too many, it just slows the game down.
Yeah, and that's not fun. Even if you lose, you know. Chris said Decree of Pain.
I think that one might be out of our budget.
I
We'll
believe
take a
so
look at it.
too. And I think that's like 8 mana. Destroy all creatures. You draw a card for each one of them. Yeah, 294. That's kind of well with where we're at right now. That's actually pretty doable. But
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do you have any thresholds for card prices where it's an absolute no? Like, is it $2? Is it $3? Is it $5?
for me, I think it's 5.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at where we're at right now, we haven't even hit $20, and we're already at 72 cards. So I think we could easily a budget for a $5 card in here. I like Decree of Pain, but I think for just 1 more mana, I can get rid of everything else besides your stuff with in Garrick's Wake. So I think it's only slightly more efficient.
And how much is in Garrick's Wake, price-wise?
That's cheap. It's under $1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So...
Alright, I'm coming around to Decree of Pain, or in Garrick's Wake.
I don't know. Do you want to...
Yeah, let's add it.
Let's add Decree of Pain. We can come back to it when we're fine-tuning.
Okay. So now that we got the foundation of the deck out of the way, I think it's time to start putting the fun stuff in.
I like the fun stuff. All right.
So let's read the commander again.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to do. I'll read it out loud. Okay. It's a 5/4 trample. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, return to your hand target creature or planeswalker card in your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. So the main thing is we need to get this guy out. We need to get him hitting. He's got to be getting in there for damage.
All right. So we need a lot of things to go right for the ability to work. So it has to hit the field. It has to survive combat, and we have to have things in our graveyard that we want to come back that didn't happen in combat. A lot of hoops to jump through, but first thing that comes to mind is, in order for any of that to work, it has to survive. It has to be alive and be able to go to combat.
Yep.
So if we try to go for something like Boots, go ahead and pull up like Swiftfoot Boots. There are some cards in, when building on a budget that you can't really include. Thankfully, Boots is now cheap.
Boots is down to $135?
It used to be like $3.
Wow. Thank you, Commander Legends.
Yes, that is
You're
awesome.
welcome.
That's good. I don't think we'll have the same luck with Lightning Greaves.
No, Lightning Greaves doesn't have as many reprints, plus it's generally considered better, although $369.
Yeah. There is, how do you feel about enchantments that kind of do the same thing?
Well, I mean, equipment is better just because it doesn't die with the creature. So let's see. Haunted Cloak is Haunted Cloak is hexproof as well. No, that's not the right one. What was I thinking of? One of them has hexproof.
Mask of Avacyn or something?
No.
I was thinking of Canopy Cover.
Canopy Cover. Can't be blocked. Can't be target of spells. Okay, so hexproof and can't be blocked. Well, that's pretty much perfect. Alright, so I'm going to make a new category here. What I call protection. Let's throw that in here too. Alpha Authority is a good, cheap hexproof aura.
Yeah, that's sort of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then one more. It's a card that you turned me on to. Wrap in Vigor. We're also in Golgari colors, so if it's cheaper, we could run Golgari Charm, which does the same thing, and then a little extra.
Okay, Wrap in Vigor is 86 cents. Yeah, Golgari Charm is cheaper. Let's do that.
All right, cool.
And then we want do we want some unblockable effects?
Well, Storrev already has inherent trample.
Yeah, but your opponents are likely to have big creatures too.
Yeah, I think since it already has built-in evasion, I personally would try to go for power.
Make them bigger?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can do that with, equipments, enchantment, or if we can swing it somehow, with creatures.
Okay. Let's look at a card that Dana actually used to very big effect in our episode Straticize.
Oh, it's super cheap.
Yeah, 44 cents. So you search your library for land card and exile it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land on the battlefield with the same name as the exiled card. That's going to be really good in this, I think. Let's add that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thank you, Dana Roach. For this and only this. What else?
Let's see. So I did a quick Scryfall search and didn't find anything that was like creature based, except one, and that's Cackling Witch.
Cackling Witch. Discard a card from your hand. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn. You and your spell shapers.
I love the spell shapers, but this is nice because you can activate it before combat. You can dump excess mana into it, so you can make your commander lethal if you wanted. Get in there. It's got trample. It's good to get through. Regardless or not if it survives, you're getting that trigger.
Aaron is here saying Team Plaid Clad. Aaron, we're not playing right now.
But
but she's still on your team.
If we were, you would have been dead already.
If we were, I would have been dead already because you would have been attacking me with everything. Jerk.
Oh boy. Okay.
What else?
So
right now we're looking for ways to pump the creatures, right?
Yes.
Pump Storrev to make them big so the trample damage gets through.
You know what we haven't looked at yet, and it's something that I don't normally do when building on a budget. Planeswalkers are normally expensive.
Well, there's some that are not too bad. A lot of the War of the Spark ones are pretty cheap.
Yeah, and Storrev can actually get back some of those Planeswalkers. If we have a cheap enough Garruk, I know Garruk sometimes pumps creatures, so that might be nice.
Yeah, let's look at cheap Planeswalkers in our colors here on Scryfall.
Yeah, Aaron's saying OG Vraska might be $1. Well, let's see what we get. Yeah, you want to put the threshold at 3 just because they're Planeswalkers and they're normally more expensive?
Yeah.
Just like board wipes.
Let's see.
Alright, do you see anything that pumps power? There we go. New one, Garruk Unleashed. How about that?
Yeah, we can do that. What else does he do? You can make a beast token, and if an opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on Garruk. And minus that, yeah, you don't need to worry about the ultimate. Let's take a look at that. Hey, we're not doing that. Which one was that? Unleashed?
Yeah, that Garruk Unleashed.
Alright, $1.55. That's not too bad.
Nice. Let's do it.
Alright, what else we got? Jang Yangu. Target creature gets +2/+2.
For 5? I feel like we can do a little bit better. Let's see. Well, there's Vraska. There's all the Vraskas. Vraska Golgari Queen might be good.
Man, that used to be a $20 card.
Really?
Yeah. Back when it was in standard.
Wow.
So that'd be good in our card draw package.
Yeah.
And
It's removal and it's card draw, so, you know, it overlaps a bit. Wow.
$1.69.
Less than $2. I like it.
I actually could throw that in with the draw category there. Alright, we got a couple of planeswalkers. Vraska Regal Gorgon. That costs 7 mana though. But it would give Storrev Menace. That's not, you know, it's not nothing.
Right.
Yeah, but for 7 mana, I don't think so.
Are there any other value planeswalkers that, you know, we don't mind if they die? Well, I guess I can't say that. So, if the planeswalkers are going to die, it's either because you out loyaltied them and they just, you know, bit the dust, or the bad way if somebody takes it out, and they're normally taking it out through combat damage, in which case Storrev can't bring it back anyway. That being said, are there any else that you see that you think would be worth including?
This Obnixilis the Hate Twisted. Whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to that player. -2, destroy target creature, its controller draws 2 cards. We can destroy our own stuff to draw 2 cards if we want, or it's just get rid of a threat.
Yeah, let's do that.
Alright. What else?
You know, Garrick Primal Hunter might be worth considering.
So make a beast token, or draw cards, or create a 6/6 worm token for each land you control.
So I like it because this is one of those rare cases where you can drop the Garrick, immediately -3, and kill it to draw 5 cards, and then bring it back.
Yeah, okay. Alright. Now we're eating into our budget a little bit here, but we still got plenty of wiggle room here, so I'm not worried.
Alright, well I think we're good on Planeswalkers then, huh?
Yeah, we're good on Planeswalkers. Do you want to do like pump effects now?
We could do that.
You want Storrev to be big, right?
Yeah.
How about like Overrun? How expensive is Overrun right now? 21 cents.
Oh, nice.
What do you think?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. What else?
Is there anything worth doing with the creature typing? So it's a zombie and an elf and a wizard. I mean, there's got to be something we can do with that, right?
Maybe.
I mean, we're getting a bunch of elf support, so some of that stuff is probably expensive right now because everybody's looking at it. What about zombies? No one cares about zombies, right?
So Dwynen gives your elves +1/+1. Let's see. Elvish Dreadlord. When it dies, non-elf creatures get -3/-3 until end of turn, and it's got Encore. That could be cool.
That.
Let's try that.
Hmm.
Immaculate Magistrate's a new one from Commander Legends. Tap it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each elf you control. So if it's just the 2 elves, you'd be putting 2 +1/+1 counters on Storrev.
Yeah, do we have any other elves in the deck right now besides the one we just added?
I don't believe so. That's a druid. That's an elk. Spell Shaper. There's an elf, Springbloom Druid.
Okay.
Doesn't look like
it.
it.
I don't hate it. We could put that in there, and then we could shift some of the cards around to be more elf themed if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? I wonder how expensive Diviner's Wand is. Oh boy. Andy, you gotta look at that.
Hold on, I'm getting there. Diviner's Wand is 47 cents. A group creature has... Whenever you draw a card, this creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn, and 4 draw a card. Whenever a wizard creature comes into play... Oh.
So you can drop that on 3, drop your commander on turn 4, auto-equip it, and if you start drawing a lot of cards, like, with Garrick...
Yeah.
On 5, that's what we call a curve.
That's a really good...
Curving out.
That's a really good one. Good call on that. But people in chat, any recommendations on making Storrev big?
Well, we can also, since Storrev wants to connect, we can consider cards that whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player.
Okay.
Actually, one thing we should think about, adding Death Touch to Storrev.
Because it has trample?
Yes.
Okay. What are the best ways to add Death Touch?
There's a creature that does it with Soul Bond.
Okay.
Soul Bond. It is Nightshade Peddler.
Is paired with another creature. Both creatures have Death Touch. Alright.
Yeah, cheap and easy way to do it.
Let's see. Basilisk Collar is too expensive.
What about Gorgon's Head? That's the cheaper of the Gorgon's Flail and Gorgon's Head
Okay.
versions, I believe.
Buck09, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Can do that.
What about this new card from Binding of the Old Gods?
It's not going to come up here.
Oh, that's right. I got a better one anyway.
It's not Commander legal yet.
Gift of Doom. That's a good one.
There's Death Touch and Indestructible. Ooh.
And you morph and you sacrifice another creature.
I dig it. Let's throw that. Where is that? Under protection. We're at 90 cards.
Cool. Let's see. Let's do a quick creature count.
Okay. We'll view this by types. We've got 22 creatures so far. 4 planeswalkers.
Alright. I'd like more if we can handle it. So I would prefer to have it, more creatures just so we can do more stuff with the deck.
Okay.
What else? So our creatures are going to the graveyard. Things that care about things entering the graveyard or leaving the graveyard would be things to consider. Like, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Have you ever heard of this card, Sir Conrad the Grim?
No.
I hear it's pretty good.
And now you got to add my, Sir Conrad's second in command, Tormod the Desecrated.
Yes.
Or the Desecrator. So anytime you use Storrev's ability, you get a free zombie.
Yep.
That's really cool. Do we have any things that are creatures that care about when other creatures die or go to the graveyard?
Let's see. So there's creatures that say, like, when a creature dies, draw a card. Right?
Ooh, I've got one. It's not a creature, but I think it's something we should probably put in the deck. Death's Presence.
Okay.
Which Andy Fleury will like because it's from Ravnica.
Oh, is that the one where you... Oh, no. That's not it. Whenever a creature you control dies, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the power of the creature that died. Oh. Yeah, it's a bit... No, that's fine. All right.
It's expensive, but it pumps up your commander, so it can just keep getting in for more damage.
Yeah.
Let's see. Less than $1. What else do we have? It's also a creature. We have more things that draw you cards. What do you think about Reaper of the Wilds?
I'll tell you what I think in a second. Whenever another creature dies, scry 1. Pay black, it gains Death Touch. Pay 1 and a green, it gains Hexproof. It's got a good body on it, 4/5, and then get some good card advantage there for scry 1.
Yeah.
And it's any creatures, not just yours. Yeah, we can do that.
All right, and we got some of the more expensive aristocrats that are within our budget. Expensive as in mana cost. We have like Falconwrath Noble.
Another creature dies. Okay.
We also have Vindictive Vampire, also from Ravnica. And lastly, good old Zulaport Cutthroat, which I guess is less than $1.
Is it? Oh yeah, because it was reprinted.
Wow.
It was
I'm
reprinted.
surprised that's so cheap. The card is so good.
Yeah, it was the reprint last year in Commander.
Wow.
It was expensive. It was a couple bucks before that reprint.
All right. So what are we at now?
For total or creature count?
Both.
All right, total cards 97, and creatures we're at 28.
You want to go to chat and ask?
Chat, what else should we add? We need 3 cards. Do we want to throw Smothering Abomination back in there?
We could. We have an easy way to feed it. Alright. Colin says, how many dollars do we have?
34.
How much money you got?
We got tons of money.
$34?
Yeah.
What if we played Snow Basics and played Dead of Winter? Well, we don't technically count basic lands in the cost of the deck. So yeah, you could totally do that. We can swap at another board wipe. Is Journey to Eternity within budget? Let's find out.
All non-snow creatures get -X/-X until end of turn. Yeah, well, we're not really doing anything snow. I don't want to add snow lands just for that. Journey to Eternity is not budget. Last I checked, $5.29. Well, I mean, I guess we can afford it right now. And then what is the flip side here? Add 1 mana of any color. Return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. So it's more recursion.
Yeah.
Do we want more recursion, or do we want more creatures?
It's not a creature, but something we could put in.
Yeah.
If we're going less on, because we're doing like a couple different avenues, right? We need combat damage. We're doing a little bit of aristocrats and all of that. If you wanted to go more into the Voltron aspect, Fire Shrieker is budget.
Certainly is.
But it's not a creature, and I want more creatures. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't think there's anything in green and black that gives double strike, is it?
I don't think so. It's normally in white and red. But they're giving green everything nowadays. I mean, maybe they added one. We don't even know about it.
Helps if we spell it right. Strike. Prices will do less than 3.
Anything mutatey. Soul Flare really doesn't do it. Chris is saying Fecundity. I'd like more token generators or more creatures if we were to include that. Target creature or planeswalker card in your graveyard that wasn't put there this combat. Wait a minute. Doesn't mean this turn. I misread it.
Yeah, it could be on the same turn, just as long as it's not during the combat.
That means planeswalkers are actually fine. Okay, well that's good to know for future reference. Oh, what about Poison Tip Archer?
When another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. It's got Reach and Death Touch. And it's an elf. Yeah, that works.
Alright.
$1.36.
Yeah,
wow.
I don't know why.
For
Colin
an
in the
uncommon.
chat is saying Dirgebed as removal and evasion. I don't even know what that card does.
That's a mutate one.
Is it? Dirgebed.
It's flying 3/3. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls.
It gives your commander an extra form of evasion. That's kind of funny. I like it.
Alright. Cool. We are at exactly 100 cards, and we're at $36. So I think, unless you want to keep looking for cards to add, I would say from that point I would probably start beefing up the lands and making those the mana base a little bit better, since we have so much budget to work with. But we don't have.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but normally in every deck I've been including, because they're cheap, Ghost Quarter, Tech Edge, and Field of Ruin as ways to get rid of opposing lands. Less of a factor in a budget meta, but if you're going outside of your budget meta, they're good to have.
Yeah, I honestly haven't been running those in our Scrap Trawlers decks, just because problem lands aren't generally a problem in budget. But like you said, sometimes we do take these out into non-budget pods, so that could be good. We'll do Ghost Quarter. That's probably the cheapest one of those, right? Or it would be Tectonic Edge. 79 cents. That's good enough.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Rogue's Passage?
I think it's good here, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So we need slightly more black than green for the mana costs. Let's take out one of each for the lands we just put in. Going back to the mana staples, for the budget ones, I like the temples. The ones that are reprinted in the core sets are all super cheap.
Yeah, you also got good
Temple
old guild
Mallet.
gates and the gain lands.
Jungle Hollow. And with what we have left here, we could even we could go quite a bit higher as far as like the cost of lands. I might even say we can do better than Golgari Guildgate. We don't need to scrape the bottom of the barrel as
It's fun. That's what the Golgari do, Andy.
I guess so. I guess that is true. So we can even afford Twilight Mire's 26 cents? No way.
That can't be right.
That can't be right. That's got to be an error on EDH Rec.
Heavily played,
Okay.
run over by 3 trucks.
416. Okay, so that was not accurate. EDH Rec. Liars. What else? Tainted Wood is good.
Yeah.
Could throw that in there.
And we're right back to where we started.
Yeah. 157. That's pretty good. We can splurge on that arcane signet if we want to.
Yeah, we can totally do that. Is there anything we would replace with it? Maybe either talisman or the signet?
I would say probably the talisman.
Alright.
So we don't want to get rid of any creatures, right?
Right.
Alright. So talisman in the maybe board and throw arcane signet in here. We're still at $41. Well, I don't know how much tuning did you want to do tonight, or did you want to just say?
We're almost at 2 hours here, so I think we can call it. What do you think? Do you want to do more?
No, I think we're good. I think we built a pretty decent deck here. Obviously, it's got, we got to tune it. We got to fix that mana curve a bit, but for our purposes, which was showing people how we brew on a budget, I think we definitely accomplished that.
Yeah, and there were a lot of cool synergies in there, with the with that line of play we found, with Storrev and that thing that I just ruined the bit. Whatever gave Storrev a lot of power, and then you sacrifice Garrick, then bring it back. Whatever we did.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. The thing that cost 3. You know the thing I'm talking about.
I don't know. I'm already lost.
Yeah. Cost 3, it's great.
Trust.
I don't remember what it was.
Trust us. It's good. No, this is a cool deck. It's got a lot of cards I haven't played with, so I would give it a try.
You got those spell shapers in there.
Yeah, I would never consider the spell shapers, but I will trust you on it since you're a good deck builder, so I believe in you.
Oh, thank you. Well, you built this one, so you're the good deck builder.
We did this together.
I watched.
It was a team effort.
Chat's the real MVP. Chat helped us build it.
Chat did help. It's not often you have a bunch of people watching you and telling you what to do. No, wait, that is pretty often. That happens a lot, actually.
Hello.
All right, well.
Cool. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, I had a good time. We should do it again.
We should. So I hope y'all enjoyed what you saw today. Taking a deeper dive into, what budget is, what it means, and more importantly, how to brew on a budget, which is one of the more fun parts about Magic and EDH and all that in general, at least for me.
Yeah, I always have fun brewing budget decks. I don't know. You get to do so much fun stuff by looking at cards you don't normally look at.
Yeah, and then you find things that are way less expensive than you thought, like Swiftfoot boots.
Yeah, let's hope that they keep reprinting that, because I would like that. I would like that price to stay down.
Yeah, same.
Cool. All right. People watching us in chat on Twitch here, thank you, you crazy people, for joining us while we sat here and brewed a deck. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate Chris for subscribing tonight. That was awesome of you. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everybody. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Trans rights are human rights.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.